They're done.
We're going to try and wrap this all up with giving you a diagram. I hope you can see all this. This is a 1978 actual factory service manual for the 280Z. This shows the loop rail as being continuous. As we showed you earlier, it doesn't have to cut extra pieces of fuel line in them. But this is indicative of how the system works. Fuel pump, supplied fuel from the tank to the pump. The fuel travels through the pump. As you can see, it just enters the one end and goes out the other. There is a loop into the fuel damper. From the damper, it is metal line. Then you have another piece of rubber line there to the fuel filter. From the fuel filter out, another piece of rubber line to metal line again. Into the loop rail, sprays fuel from all 6 injectors and also supplies the cold start injector. Any remaining fuel then is lost through the pressure regulator and then it's returned back to the tank. It's a full loop system, very nice system. Nothing that you have to worry about going wrong with most of these pieces. You'll rarely see a mechanical problem with the hoses or the lines themselves, except if they've been damaged by some external source. So I wouldn't go looking for them to have a whole lot of problem. Again, always use high pressure line in every place you can here. The stuff isn't that expensive in comparison to the fact that you will suffer a catastrophic fire if you get a problem. These pumps are capable of pumping about 35 gallons an hour, maybe more. If you bring that down to just a minute's worth of fuel pumping, you'll put enough fuel inside that engine compartment that you can't put it out with several fire extinguishers. So even a small amount of fuel can result to a catastrophic fire.
While we have the book open, did you want to show the weak links and how to test to see whether you have your pressure? Does the pump make any noise or anything like that?
Yeah, we could go into that.
I don't know if you want to do it or not. I'd like start the gas tank again. Just a real quick recap. Fuel pump. If it works, it makes noise. If it doesn't work, it doesn't make noise.
All the fuel pumps themselves make a certain amount of noise. As they begin to cavitate or are working against greater pressure than they should be, they'll whine. A good solid pump should make a solid tone. If you get a pump that's making a high, if it's actually changing in pitch constantly, chances are your fuel pressure regulator is opening and closing erratically, causing the pump to pressurize and then depressurize. Always look for, this system should be constant no matter what. You should never have, the pump should just spin. It should be spin quietly, but you should still be able to hear it. Some people have said they can't hear them because they are just hard of hearing. But if you have to climb to the back of the vehicle, have someone take and just bump the key, make sure it's in neutral and that you're not running over yourself. But make sure that the pump is actually running. If you want to, put your hand right up on this portion of the pump, back on the body of it, and you should feel it humming. It'll have an audible tone and the vibration you'll be able to feel with your fingers. The fuel dampener, again, don't adjust this. This piece here will all unbolt from the car in one piece. If you have to service it, it's the easiest way to do it. The last thing that I wanted to talk about as far as the water went was the fact that there are those who will tell you that you can put water line dryers into your fuel tank and this will take care of your problems. All these dryers do is literally lift the water up off the bottom of the tank. The specific gravity of gasoline is lighter than the specific gravity of water. So the water goes to the bottom of the tank where it rusts it out and makes all kinds of hate and discontent at the bottom of the tank. If you take and put kerosene in, which is what heat and Silu and some of these other systems are, it's kerosene. The kerosene is actually heavier than water yet. So it lifts the water up off the bottom where the system then just picks it up and pushes it on through. Well, that gets rid of the water, but that's not where you wanted it to go. You didn't want it to go into your system. There are some good surfactant style water line dryers. Power Service builds a good one. It's a company which their claim is that it will actually break the water up into a molecular size which will burn on through the system without causing damage. I've never been able to say yay or nay, but I do like this stuff. It does seem to work, and it hasn't. I've used it a lot of years, and it doesn't seem to cause any problems with the filters, the injectors, and it's basically a diesel additive, but it works very well in gasoline also for removing water, and that's all I ever use it for.
What's it called?
It's called Power Service, PS. It's in a red, white, and black can, and it's big red letter PS.
You can probably get it from
And it's available
stop?
all over. Yeah, truck stops have it. They finally put it down into small enough quantities for people like us because it's only like $4 for a quart, and a quart treats 40 gallon. So you need to put a pint in for every 20, for every 20 gallons. Well, even the biggest Z car doesn't have a 20-gallon tank in it unless you're driving a big ZX in the late models. But most of the early first generation cars are 14, 16-gallon tanks on their very biggest, best day. So even if you over dilute it, even if you put in a pint of 15 gallons, it is still going to do the job. It isn't necessary to do all the time. I recommend doing it in the winter time if you're in colder climates where water condensation, of course, is more prevalent because of the constant heat and air changes from hot to cold, inside to outside.
If the water sinks down the bottom of the tank, can you drain your?
You can pull the drain plug and give it and let it drain on down if you've got a safe way of doing it. But remember, when you pull the plug on that, you're going to get a tremendous amount of fuel in a very short period of time. You need to have the largest pan you can find, and then plan on throwing the clothes you're wearing away because you are going to be taking a bath in gasoline.